We told you about the concerns the Hamilton Firefighters Union has with the report on Patrick Wolterman's death.
The union president says some facts were omitted and other factors were overlooked. And those factors include the delayed response time of a rapid assistance team and safety officers. Walter Smith Randolph explains.
When a department responds to a fire, typically a team of initial responders are assigned to the rapid assistance team known as the RAT team. Someone is also made the safety officer. The safety officer ensures the firefighters follow safety procedures while the RAT team rescues lost or trapped firefighters. The night Patrick Wolterman died, the RAT team showed up 6 minutes after initial crews were on scene, and the safety officer showed up 45 minutes after dispatch. The union president tells me those two factors should have been emphasized in the 63-page report. Instead, they're listed as additional findings. The night Patrick Wolterman died, he did not have his radio on. This 63-page report on Wolterman's death lists the off radio as a contributing factor to his death. Local 20 union president Tony Harris says he had more questions about that radio than other concerning factors.
And it's important for us to turn our radios on, but that Patrick not having his radio on made no difference that night. But that was one of the ones that was higher up in the report than some of the other things like a safety officer and things like that. And that was frustrating.
Harris is concerned some things like safety officers and rapid assistance teams are overlooked in the report. Hamilton Fire Chief Mark Mercer chose to respond in writing as opposed to sitting down for an interview. When we asked Mercer for his reaction to the report, he stated, "I really don't have a reaction to the report since my duties in the department have exposed me to the fact of the incident from the day it happened. The report is a product of those facts." While the radio is listed as the last of 5 contributing factors to Wolterman's death, RAT team response and safety officers are listed as additional findings. These emails obtained by Local 12 Investigates show Harris is not the only firefighter concerned with RAT response times and safety officers. Deputy Chief Thomas Eichelberger expressed his concerns with rapid assistance teams in an email in February 2018 to Chief Mercer, a year before the report was released. The RAT response finding does not address the issue. Our delay of RAT personnel on the fire scene that night goes far beyond Engine 21's proximity to the fire scene. Mercer responded to his deputy chief, "Thank you, Cap." The report's findings said the RAT team was on scene 41 seconds before the Mayday call. By that time, other crews had been battling the fire for 6 minutes. National fire standards state the RAT team should arrive on scene when the first crews do.
That's not enough time to set up your equipment and be ready to respond to a downed firefighter.
Mercer disagrees that the RAT response time was a contributing factor. He wrote, "No quicker action would have changed the outcome nor prevented the fatality." There's also those concerns about safety officers. The National Institute for Occupational Health and Safety wrote an independent report on Wolterman's death. Their 8th recommendation focused on having a dedicated safety officer at structure fires. Right now, during normal business hours, a safety officer is also the incident commander in Hamilton. Outside of normal business hours, a deputy chief has to be dispatched from home.
And the safety officer, that's something we've tried to find an answer to for years, and that's a standard in a lot of places.
Mercer said part of the reason there is no safety officer is that in an agreement with the union from October 2016, rather than staff shift safety officers, that additional staffing would be dedicated to an additional medic unit. Local 12 Investigates obtained these surveys from Hamilton fire commanders and officers following the NIOSH report. They show some commanders and officers agree with NIOSH's recommendation. One response said, "We should have a designated SO every day. Our system doesn't work." Another said, "This is based on resources, and until the city agrees to funding this, HFD will not be able to implement this properly." 2 grievances were filed regarding safety officers in February 2016. One grievance was from former Hamilton firefighter Bill Quinn. He said, "In most cases, it will take over 30 minutes from notification to get a safety officer on scene. In many cases, the most dangerous parts of the incident are long over before our safety officers would ever arrive on scene." In regards to the feedback on safety officers, Mercer wrote in part, "There is a greater awareness and increased training on the issues of fireground safety." According to the final report, the night Patrick Wolterman died, a safety officer was requested through dispatch at 1:20 a.m. The safety officer arrived 45 minutes later.
By that time, Patrick was already extricated from the building and all the way on his way to the hospital by then. So it didn't help that night.
The safety officer on scene that night was current Chief Mark Mercer.
So by the time he got there, And like I said, through no fault of his own, he did not know he would have a Mayday.
Mercer wrote, Hamilton's policy has been and continues to be that the duties of the safety officer are the responsibility of the incident commander unless and until they are delegated. Emails obtained by Local 12 Investigates show Mercer revised the report, including sections involving his role that night. When we asked him why he made changes to the preliminary report, he wrote, while the report that was produced by the committee was submitted to the previous fire chief, he told me he would not release it. He did not give me any reasons for that, and I did not ask. I was not satisfied that all of the conclusions were accurate, and I worked with the committee to revise it. These minutes from a labor management meeting on January 31st, 2018, when Mercer was still a deputy chief, detail issues with the internal report. The minute states, Deputy Chief Mercer states that he has made every allowance for people to have input, but the bottom line is that it is the fire chief's report and he will approve the report, content, and format.
It's Patrick's report, plain and simple. I can't be any more clear about that. I've been clear that to my members, I've been clear that to his family, and I'll be clear to that until my dying day. That is Patrick's report. It's not my report, it's not the chief's report, it's nobody's report but Patrick's. And all we have to do in that report is honor Patrick by telling the truth. Plain and simple.
We reached out to Wolterman's widow to get her take on this report, but she declined. Harris tells us some of the issues they had the night of Wolterman's death are still issues to this day.